Hi everyone. Today I'm going to make this wonderful Korhelyleves hangover soup for you. I hope you'll join me and please let me know in the comments how you make it because this is one of those dishes that can truly be prepared in 1,000 different ways. But I'll show you how I make it. Let's look at the ingredients. I bought some really high quality meats for this, so let's start with the meats right away. I'm going to add smoked ham, about half a kilo, and of course smoked bacon and smoked sausage, about 300 to 400 grams. And here's a bit of pork shoulder as well, around 800 grams. We'll also need paprika, salt, pepper, 1 kilogram of sauerkraut, sour cream, flour for thickening later, bay leaves, caraway seeds, onion, and garlic. These are the ingredients you'll need. Personally, I prefer using whole caraway seeds instead of ground, but the kids don't like them in the soup. But now I'm going to measure everything out for you. The ingredients so you can see them, which I don't usually do. Here you'll see the sizes of everything, and I've also written them down in the description, which you'll find in the comments below the video. And at the end of this video, you'll also find the written recipe. So let me talk a bit about the ingredients and their quantities. We're not baking, we're cooking. It really doesn't matter if the sausage is 300 or 400 grams or 200 grams or 400 grams, or if the meat is 1 kilogram or 800 grams, it really doesn't matter. Okay. So just feel free with a recipe like this. It's not a problem if you have a bit more of one thing or a bit less of another. The other day I saw at a friend's place that he followed a recipe so strictly, he actually left a quarter of an onion unused. Well, I'm sure it wouldn't have hurt the dish if he'd added that extra quarter of an onion, but just to be safe, I measured it out for you because in the video, for example, you can't really see how big these 3 onions are. By the way, these are relatively small onions. Here's my meat, and I'll tell you right now that it really wasn't a nice cut. It was incredibly fatty. I would have preferred to roast it because it would be much tastier that way, but I had to cut off the fat since boiled fat just isn't good in a soup. Meanwhile, I've already chopped up the ingredients, which of course, if I weren't filming this video, I wouldn't have pre-chopped or put out on plates because I definitely wouldn't want to do extra washing up. It takes a lot longer and really slows down the cooking. It's much simpler, for example, to chop up the sausage and the meats while the onions are browning. But because of the video, I've done it all in advance this time. So now the cooking can begin. I've heated up the pot. The bottom is nice and hot. So in goes the smoked bacon. And don't worry, whatever was left on the plate, I did take it out. Just so you know, I have the camera in my other hand, so it's not that easy to do everything at once. I start to fry the bacon, and I usually take it out of this dish because in the soup, if it softened, it wouldn't have nearly as good a flavor. And of course, we'll be snacking on it with the kids while we cook. I've mentioned in tons of videos how much we love this freshly fried bacon. You'll see the steps here as we go. And I thought I'd tell you a little bit about Korhelyleves while we're at it. Not too much, but I think this soup is really exciting. So why is it called Korhelyleves? The word Korhely in Old Hungarian basically means a drunkard or a reveler, and the soup itself was actually invented as a miracle cure for hangovers because it's both sour and fatty. I mean, I don't know from experience. I haven't tried it myself since I don't drink alcohol, but they say that the juice from the sauerkraut wakes up your digestion, the smoked meat and sausages replenish your energy and salt, and the sour cream soothes your stomach. This combo is basically the 19th century version of a rehydration drink, just eaten with a spoon. Personally, I usually serve it like this. I like to call it liquid sekeli cabbage. Now let's get back to the recipe. Basically, I poured the pork shoulder over the onions. You don't need to fry it too much, just toss it a bit so it gets a little seared. Then you can add the smoked meats like the sausage and the smoked ham. I'll toss these as well, just enough for the sausage to release a bit of its fat. I quickly add the garlic, and as you saw, I put in as many cloves as you like, 6 or 7. This is garlic, and by the way, this isn't a small batch of soup. Already the kitchen smells amazing. Now we can slowly start seasoning the soup. Add 2 tablespoons of paprika and quickly stir it in. I'm not going to fry it because that would make the paprika taste bitter. Add 3 or 4 bay leaves depending on their size and strength. I don't like it when the bay leaf flavor is too strong, so I use just enough. Caraway seeds, like I said, you can easily add whole caraway seeds, but I use ground caraway because of the kids. And now the cabbage goes in. You can see that in this big pot, a whole kilo of cabbage just disappears. I usually just pile it on top like this. I don't even really mix it in. I'll pour water over it and the cooking will take care of the rest later. I started pouring in the water with a half-liter jug, so every time I pour, so however many times you see me pouring, that's how many half liters of water go into this soup. I didn't count exactly, but you can keep track if I remember correctly. I added about 2.5 liters of water to this cabbage, meat, smoked bacon, and smoked sausage soup, just enough to give it a soupy consistency. I put the lid on and I start cooking it for a good 40 to 50 minutes. As strange as it sounds, believe it or not, the cabbage itself needs about 40 minutes to cook, even though raw, it's actually really easy to eat. Meanwhile, I start making the roux because I'm about 30 to 40 minutes into the cooking time. I scooped out all the sour cream. This was about 3 to 4 deciliters. I think you can see it in the video, and I mix it until smooth with 2 tablespoons of sour cream and 2 tablespoons of flour, making sure there are no lumps. Then I'll add some of the soup broth to this, about 2 ladlefuls, and that's what I'll use to thicken the soup. Now you can see how beautiful it is. I actually added another half a liter of water because some of the liquid had evaporated, and I wanted it to still have a soup-like consistency. This is a nice thick soup, so don't expect it to be like a clear broth because it's packed with ingredients. There's a lot of meat and a lot of cabbage in it, but believe me, it's absolutely divine. So I take my ladle and pour 2 ladlefuls into this sour cream roux. It doesn't matter if some cabbage gets in there too. And you'll see even some sausage might get in there. It really doesn't matter because in a few seconds the whole thing is going back into the pot anyway. I'll try to mix it together with one hand again since the camera is in the other. So I'll just mix this as best as I can for you, and then I'll pour it right back into the pot. After that, I let it simmer for another 4 to 5 minutes with the roux, and then the soup is done. With some soft white bread, it's an incredibly delicious dish. The longer it sits in the fridge, the tastier it gets. Give it a try. And I'm really, really curious to know how you make it because imagine I've seen some people make it with meatballs, some with sausages, some without any meat, just simply with smoked sausage. So here's the final result. It's simply amazing. Just keep in mind that the aroma really fills the whole space. Actually, it's not by accident that I finished it out on the terrace because I was doing a big cleaning and the smell in the house was so delicious that I didn't want everything to end up smelling like smoked bacon. If you really enjoyed this delicious soup, please consider subscribing to the channel. I have already prepared a wide variety of similar tasty dishes, and I will definitely be making many more of them in the near future. Here is the full recipe for you to